What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video I got 5 very specific fragrances. These are some flankers to some popular designer fragrance lines that you probably forgot about. Even if you have them, they might be collecting dust because it's always on to the new and next and new thing when it comes to designers, because they're always releasing new fragrances. And don't get me wrong, they release some good stuff most of the time, but these all have some charm to them. They're all really good. Some of them are discontinued, but they're all really, really good. And I don't know, the idea popped in my head and said, you know what, let's talk about it, because these are some that I'd like to get back in my rotation. So stay tuned. So here's one that's fresh, citric. I get a little bit of orange out of it, but it still has that signature powdery tonka bean, and it still performs really well. It's basically the blue fragrance of this line. It's Armani Code Colonia. There was a time when I was really, really digging this one. I believe it to be discontinued. This 75 ml tester, because it has the tester sticker on the back, they used to be floating around eBay for like $35 to $45 range. You used to be able to get these 75 ml testers for a really, really good price. And this is a great fragrance. If you have it in your collection, dust it off and wear it. It's springtime, spring weather right now. Even though it's not technically officially spring, but spring weather's going around right now. It's perfect for it because it still has the beautiful powdery sweet tonka bean that the DNA is known for. Still has some spice. Like, it really still smells like Code, but a bluer, fresher take on it. Is actually really good. It smells fantastic. In fact, I might wear it today at the recording of this, because I was already tossing around the idea of, speaking of forgotten flankers, it was between this and La Nuit de l'Homme Eau Electrique. I actually have that lined up to wear today. Might slide that down and roll with this for the sake of the topic today, because it is a beautiful fragrance. It's the right weather for it, and one of my favorite versions of Code to ever come out. Anybody that's a fan of Armani Code, this one, great one to have. And it's probably forgotten by most people these days. It's Armani Code Colonia. Now, I pointed out that I was planning on wearing Eau Electrique in the La Nuit de l'Homme line. Well, here's another one that's really forgotten. This one, from what I've gathered over the years, the reason this one didn't get any love, because it's not a strong performer. 3 to 4 hour fragrance with maybe an hour of projection, but it has its settings, it has its uses, and it's a beautiful scent. This is La Nuit de l'Homme L'Intense. So what's different about the L'Intense? It's not all that intense. What it is, though, is more iris and violet heavy. Still get the sweet, aromatic, powdery, spicy tonka bean DNA. It's still there, but it's prominently featured around this kind of lipsticky iris, lightly earthy violet tone, very powdery, sexy, seductive stuff. Wife's a big fan of this one. I'm a big fan of this one. Intimate settings, great fragrance for things like that. You know, close quarters. This is a beautiful fragrance for that. You just, and look, in situations like that, when you're going to be close together, you don't need a lot of sprays. It doesn't need to perform really well because, like I said, it's an in each other's personal space type of thing. There's fragrances that serve that purpose really well, and this serves that purpose really well. You know, sitting close on dinner dates, nightcaps in the evenings, all these different things that come along with the more intimate setting, as I'm referring to. This is a great fragrance. It really is. It never quite got off the ground with getting the love that I personally feel it deserves. There's a bunch of really good La Nuit de l'Homme flankers, and this is one of the best ones that's ever come out, in my opinion. At least in this household, it is absolutely a hit. Again, 3 or 4 hours of longevity is all I really get. Hour of projection if I'm lucky. Sillage is kind of, on the, lighter side, closer to a skin scent, but it is one of the sexier powdery fragrances that I've ever smelled. This is amazing. I don't know how many of you have tried it, but it's definitely a forgotten flanker in the YSL La Nuit de l'Homme line. This is the L'Intense flanker. Very fresh, very green, has some zest. It's extremely invigorating, and every time I've ever worn it, it surprises me how long it actually lasts with a decent sillage. This is Issey Miyake's Le Bleu d'Issey Eau Fraiche. This was featured in my very first video on this channel. Top 10 not so citrusy summer fragrances for 2019. back in July of 2019. I still love this fragrance. Now, look, I've gotten so many that, the dent does not continue to increase. And I need to get back to it because it's one of the better rosemary dominant fragrances I've ever smelled. Bergamot, mint, there's a little bit of a tea note, but a lot of rosemary gives it this fresh green spicy smell, but also very watery and airy at the same time. Such a great fragrance. I've always liked this more than what it's flankered from. The blue bottle, Le Bleu d'Issey, which is very green, great performer. It's a denser fragrance. It's a great fragrance, but the Eau Fraiche flanker has always been special to me. I don't see it anymore. There was a time when this was showing up at Marshall's and you could get it for like $22, $23 for the 75 ml on the internet from discounters. Not the case anymore. I know the blue bottle you can still get pretty cheap. I haven't really seen the Eau Fraiche flanker in a while, but it's definitely been long forgotten at this point from what I can tell. And shame on me because I'm always getting new fragrances, trying new things. This is one of my favorites ever in my collection that I just don't reach for. And shame on me, I definitely should. I need to at least wear it out the shower or something randomly one night this week because it is that good. If you like fresh, green, spicy, and airy type fragrances, man, this is a great fragrance. Le Bleu d'Issey, Eau Fraiche from Issey Miyake. Here's one that's super citrus, watery, fresh, and a little metallic. There's so many chrome flankers that have come out over the years that it's easy to forget about great fragrances like Chrome Sport. There was a time when I was really digging this one too, and then this kind of crap happened. So when I spray it, I got to make sure it's lined up because as soon as you touch it, it wants to shift. Oh, man, but it's still so good. Smells like chrome mixed with Versace Man Eau Fraiche. I stand by that statement. I've been saying that for years about this one. Another one used to be 20 to 30 bucks online. Used to show up at the rack stores all the time in that $20 to $30 range. I actually got this for like 25 bucks at a TJ Maxx now that I remember. Now that I think about it, but it's still a great fragrance. Average performance, kind of 5-6 hour range for the most part. Let's call it 5 to 7 is kind of historically what I've gotten from it. It's a great fragrance for daily wear in the heat. Good for work, great for the gym, good refresher to run errands. It's always been good for things like that. If you like chrome and or the Versace Man Eau Fraiche scent profile, you're bound to like this one. Like I said, it kind of smells like a hybrid of the two. But there's so many great chrome flankers that have come out, it's easy to forget about one that in its own right is a great flanker as well. Again, that's Azzaro Chrome Sport. Now here's one that not everybody's going to agree with me because I feel like I'm one of the few that's ever appreciated this because in the opening, the initial blast, I've heard the urine smell, the urinal cake. I've heard those things from people. I kind of get where they're coming from. So that can be off-putting just hearing that description, right? But to me, it's always smelled like a bit of Invictus Aqua, a bit of 1 Million with a synthetic rose. I'm talking about Paco Rabanne's 1 Million Cologne. The dark horse of the 1 Millions. The one that's kind of, not got crapped on or anything, but seemed like most people just did not like. Because it's really not the best cologne flanker, like a fresher 1 Million is what they were going for. Because it does have the 1 Million sweetness, a little bit of spice. It's more about citrus. It's got a fresh, watery marine accord. I believe it's aquatic notes is what it's listed as or something like that. And that rose note really stands out to me. I actually, at the recording of this last night when I gathered these fragrances, this is the one that I sprayed on skin just because it's been so long since I've sprayed it. And that's why I bring up that initial blast. Is like, I understand where people are coming from that think this is just a terrible fragrance. But if you give it like 30 seconds, give it a moment to just settle down, just a brief moment, it's actually quite nice. To me, anyways. Again, it's subjective. It's a taste, personal style kind of thing. I get it. But this is one that I need to throw in my rotation when the summer rolls around because it is on the more unique side because it smells like a few different things wrapped up into one. It is a very synthetic, kind of dusty, powdery-like rose. Again, the wateriness kind of gives it this Invictus Aqua feel with the citruses and such, but it still gets that 1 Million sweetness. So I've always appreciated this. It's actually a really good performer in the 6 to 8 hour range as well. definitely forgotten is 1 million Cologne. Well, that's a quick video on 5 forgotten flankers that I wanted to discuss with you guys. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. Of these 5, what have you tried? What are you familiar with? Again, as far as I know, 4 of these are discontinued. Chrome Sport, I don't believe, is discontinued, but I know 1 million Cologne is. Pretty sure. Low Blue Dissey Eau Fraiche. Long time that's been discontinued. La Nuit de l'Homme L'Intense, I believe, to be discontinued, as well as Code Colonia, which I'm going to wear today. So, people misconstrue that when I talk about something in a video, it's like, you need to buy this. No, if anybody wants to buy anything, that's on you guys. I'm just giving my opinions and my thoughts and saying, if you like stuff like this, if this sounds good. If was a skiff, we'd all be fishing, right? So, again, please don't take videos like this, or any of my videos, as like, you should buy these fragrances. This is just me having an open discussion with you and sharing my thoughts on some fragrances that even in my own collection kind of been forgotten in collecting dust. I literally had to wipe dust off of these bottles to do this video. So, shame on me. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of these 5 and you give them a spray now, there's a chance you might thank me later. Have a good one, guys.